Good afternoon, class. My name is Molly Wallen, and my topic is on IFR airworthiness, including aircraft inspection requirement and required equipment for IFR flight. To be able to legally fly under VFR conditions during the day, you need to meet the requirements of 91-205 Section B. This means your aircraft must have an airspeed indicator, altimeter, magnetic compass, tachometer, oil pressure gauge, temperature gauge, oil temperature gauge, manifold pressure gauge, fuel gauge, landing gear position indicator, anti-collision lights, flotation gear if flying over water, seatbelts, ELT, and shoulder harness for rotorcraft. Although I went ahead and listed all of the points for 91-205, doesn't mean that all necessarily apply to your specific aircraft. A common acronym used to help remember 91-205 is for 91-205C night flying, the following instruments and equipment are required. Instruments and equipment specified in paragraph B of this section: position lights, anti-collision lights, landing light if the aircraft is operated for hire, source of electrical energy, also known as your master switch, fuses, or for my aircraft, this would be your circuit breakers. Now, an easy way to remember the 91-205C night flying is the acronym FLAPS. We have finally reached the section that specifically relates to the required equipment necessary to fly in IMC conditions. You can find this rule in 91-205 Section D. First, you need to have all the previously mentioned equipment in 91-205 Sections B and C. You also need to have two-way radio communication, a rate of turn indicator, a slip skid indicator, a pressure-sensitive altimeter, a working clock, a generator or alternator, gyroscopic pitch and bank indicator, and directional gyros. A common acronym to help remember this. The acronym AVIATE is used to remember the various types of inspections that a general aviation aircraft must have current in order to be legally operated in the United States. The annual must be completed and properly endorsed by a mechanic with an IA or inspector authorization. The VOR check is required every 30 days for aircraft operating under IFR governed by FAR 91-171, may be performed by any pilot. The 100-hour inspection is required for aircraft that carry any person for hire or that are provided by any person giving flight instructions for hire. The aircraft's static system, altimeter, and automatic altitude reporting Mode C system must be tested and inspected every 24 calendar months prior to flying IFR in controlled airspace. The transponder must be inspected every 24 calendar months, and the ELT must be inspected within 12 calendar months. Now that you have verified that your aircraft has met the proper inspections, you must also ensure that your aircraft is airworthy by having the proper documentation. The airworthiness certificate is essentially the birth certificate of the aircraft and must be visible inside the aircraft. This certificate is valid as long as the aircraft is operated according to regulations, receives the required maintenance, and is registered in the United States. The registration certificate must be carried in the aircraft at all times. It must match the N number on the airworthiness certificate and is valid for 3 years. Your aircraft must have a radio station license when flying internationally. The operating limitations are found in the POH for the Skyhawk. They are also found on placards in the cockpit for all airplanes and markings on the instruments. The weight and balance information is used for determining that the airplane is within the maximum gross weight and center of gravity position limitations. The POH includes a list of all installed equipment which adjusts the empty weight and center of gravity limitations. I fly the G1000, so my aircraft must also have the Garmin manual inside. To ensure that you are airworthy in IFR flight, always verify that your aircraft can comply with 91-205. Your